Let's talk about Dave Filoni.
Why couldn't we get Black Man at Arms?
So Dave Filoni is now executive creative director of Lucasfilms. A lot of people are excited about that. I'm not really one of them because I don't know enough about Dave Filoni.
I mean, I would have preferred Favreau by far.
Well, I think now Favreau, that's yeah, but I will throw this over to you and Blood Axe to more talk about because you guys.
Sure, he's already frowning. Like
I know. But you know more about it than I do, so.
I've talked enough. Blood Axe, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is I don't think it's going to change a whole lot because the Lucasfilm Story Group's still in place. And we've all known in the past that Dave Filoni is a yes man regardless of who's in charge. So he's more of a follower than a leader. And that's where I come into some issues with him being promoted to any kind of position of power. The way that I look at it is try to do a correlation. If you take the best salesman in a store and you promote them to manager of the store, does that make them automatically the best manager for the job? No, because they know how to sell. They don't know how to manage people. And furthermore, if you take the manager of a store who's really good at managing and you make them a salesman, will they be a phenomenal salesman? No, because they manage people. He is creative. He is a creative genius. Now, can he be a creative director and can help control those other creative minds? Don't think he has the chops for it. Could this be just a token promotion to say, hey, we appreciate what you're doing? We've seen that done before, and that's always a possibility. But I've always seen Dave Filoni as a creative mind and not a leader of people.
But I mean, look at that hat. How can you wear that hat and not be? Not have the chops. I'm just saying.
Most people that wear a cowboy hat do not have the chops. That's usually how you can find them.
It's called sarcasm.
See a cowboy hat, it's usually a bad sign. Every now and then it's not, but a lot of times it's like, that's fake tough.
But I do think that some of this is more of throwing a bone to the fandom menace, so to speak. Oh, see, we're promoting the people that you like, right? Here, give us a break. Again, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, in my honest opinion. I do like the fact that they're taking the talented people and they're giving them more say, a promotion, however you want to put it. But I won't be satisfied until we know the fate of Kathleen Kennedy and her new contract, which is coming up at the end of the year. And once we know more about that, then I'll be excited, because if they bring on Jon Favreau, which again, same philosophy. He's a great mind when it comes to producing content. Can he run a studio? Don't know about that one. Now you bring in Kevin Feige, and that's a completely different question. Scuttlebutt is he doesn't want to leave Marvel. He's enjoying what he's doing there. But I think that would be a phenomenal change to have Kevin Feige brought over, and then Favreau still working on the content for Disney Plus along with Filoni. And then you bring in some other good minds to do some of the movie content and 86 the story group, then I'll be more excited. But this really just doesn't raise my my joy flag at all. I'm not super excited about it. I think it's just another story for us to discuss until we can find the next story after this one.
I will say I wouldn't want to take Feige away from Marvel. Like he definitely has a good
Phase
mind.
4 hasn't impressed me though.
Well, yeah. But I mean, if somebody can clean up Phase 4 and do some stuff with Phase 4, it's going to be Feige.
Yeah, if somebody decides that Phase 4 is going the wrong direction, he does have the chops to go, all right, this ain't going to make money. Yeah. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but it's there. Here's my biggest issue. The biggest thing that you worked around is that Dave Filoni is really good friends with Rian Johnson. And Rian Johnson wants to do more Star Wars stuff. That's the real fear of mine, because I get it, dude. He taught you, helped you to become the man you are today. That doesn't mean he's good at sci-fi, though. But like, ooh, excuse me, Dr. Pepper, baby. But like, hey, it's good stuff, man. 23 flavors. Yeah. But the problem is that that doesn't mean that Rian Johnson's good at sci-fi. And Dave Filoni is kind of the kind of guy that I don't think he's going to say no to Rian Johnson, and that scares me. That's what makes me afraid, is that if Rian Johnson really pushes to get his hands on more Star Wars content, I believe Dave Filoni is going to let him do it. And I believe Jon Favreau would go, you're going to have to put it through, you're going to have to put it across my table. I don't think Dave Filoni is going to look at it and look at Ryan and go, no, we're not going to do this to Chewbacca. No, we're not going to do this to Darth Vader. That's horrible. Like, what? Put him in a dress? What? Like, I don't think Dave Filoni would do that. Favreau will be like, you're going to have to rewrite that. Gonna have to rewrite it. He may not be a great, you may not think he'd be a great director, but I do believe he'll say no, because he did it. With Mandalorian, there were several times that Kathleen Kennedy tried to lean on him for stuff, and he said hell no. And thus, he earned my respect because he said no. I don't know if Filoni will say no to Rian Johnson. He might say it to Kathleen, but he ain't going to say it to Rian Johnson. And there you go. That's all I had to put in was the Rian Johnson, because you didn't cover it. He is very close to Rian Johnson. They are very good friends, and Rian Johnson's been asking him about stuff.
And Woodenball makes a point about Filoni working on the Clone Wars with George Lucas before the Disney acquisition, and that was his first introduction to animation. He was just an artist before then, so he actually learned working beside the master that we all kind of appreciate, who created Star Wars. So that's why I do like the idea of him working on the Ahsoka franchise, because that was his creation. He made Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. He's working on the Bad Batch. Cool. You did the Clone Wars with George Lucas for 6 years. So, yeah, you have the knowledge to be able to pull from that mythos and be able to create content that's kind of in line with the same aesthetic. It's in the same universe. We feel it as organic. But you put him over future content, again, I'd have to wait to see it. I think Jon Favreau, what he's done with The Mandalorian, has went back to the old Kurosawa films like George Lucas was pulling his content from. He wants to make that Western in space, the gunslinger type feel. And he's pulling from a lot of the original trilogy content, which is what is bringing fans back. But again, I'm not overly excited, but we'll see what happens with it. I mean, we don't even know what power he's getting with this promotion. If he has over all this content without having to get approval from the story group, okay, that would mean a little bit more to me. But until the story group is gone and Kathleen Kennedy is out the door, again, I'm losing my enthusiasm for Star Wars every day, which is kind of sad. And
I will say with Bad Batch, it felt like it was for kids. We didn't actually ever go back and watch more of it.
I was about to ask him is did you finish or did you continue to watch Bad Batch? Like me and Q watched the first episode and it just really wasn't for us.
It's for kids. I mean, it's not bad, but it's for kids. Yeah. And I say for kids, I mean, I watch cartoons. It still felt too kiddie for me. Like it felt for.
Yeah, I've watched all 4 of them, and you know what? Interestingly enough, I watch it with my boys on Friday afternoons.
Okay,
so it's for kids.
Yeah, it's not one of those gripping animes like the Clone Wars was. But the Clone Wars was actually more geared towards the younger audience because it was even on Cartoon Network back in the day. But yeah, the storylines is revolving around Omega, a little girl. So yeah, you already have a kid central character around the entire series. So I'm okay with it because it feels interesting. They're giving you investment in Omega as a character, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched it yet. But there is a reason why she's adventuring along with the Bad Batch. I've heard people call her a Mary Sue. I don't really see it that way, because she does have her humbling moments. She is clunky. She's not all powerful. She does get lucky from time to time, but hell, everybody gets lucky from time to time with some of the things that she does. So I don't have as much of an issue with her as I've seen in other media outlets. But am I just wowed with it like the Clone Wars? No. It's interesting. I like the idea. I think you could have done more with it. But you're right. It is more designed for children, I believe, than it is for my age demographic, which is fine. It's better than Resistance was. Resistance was garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some comments about resistance in our chat over there. You're not alone with that. I don't think.
Yeah, I just can't get this. The Spunky Kid sidekick is enough to take me out. But I mean, it's like I said, I can see how other people could like it. So hey, there you go. It's for kids.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was bad. No, we never said it was bad. We just said it wasn't for us. I couldn't stick with it.
Yeah.
Because the little kid just throws me out of it, especially because she's alongside these gritty,
and that's
like
that's where I was about to go. Is it partially it probably felt as kiddie to me is because I was looking at the Bad Batch. I was hoping for something grittier, and when it wasn't really gritty, the age just dropped, and I was just like, this isn't really what I was hoping for with the Bad Batch. So
it dropped down to like not young teen, but to like 10-year-olds. Like it dropped to like young kids, and I was just like, okay, this is dropped under. But it wasn't
I
a
don't
bad
think
episode.
it dropped that young. I mean, it's still got a bit of violence in it for a young.
I know that at 14, I wouldn't watch it. Like it would have been too light for me by then. But then by then I was an anime, so yeah, I watched Ninja Scrolls, so I had my cherry popped for serious cartoons and animation.
Right. Well, yeah, you too. But yeah, no, the age demographic is definitely, I think, towards the lower end, the preteen era, because kids are being desensitized at a more aggressive rate than we ever were. So we can't use the gauge of our childhood versus what is today.
But like My Hero Academy is darker than this, though, man. Like,
Udambai says she hasn't been annoying yet, but I thought she was annoying the first episode. So
the second she popped up, I hoped that she would not appear again, and I was unfortunately not given my wish.
I will agree she was kind of irritating at first because but you don't know why until you watch later on. So I'm not gonna. If you go back, I'm not gonna spoil it for you because it is a decent watch. It is interesting. But the fact that my 19-year-old is completely like whatever, and my 12-year-old, my 9-year-old twins are like, hey, I can't wait to watch next episode. So no, they're in the demographic, or at least have an invested.
See, so I was in the right age range there. I was off by a little bit.
Yeah.
I said 10, he said 12, and 9. So there you go.
All right, let's.
Yeah, I'll watch it opening day, so it's not like I'm waiting until today to watch it. I'll watch it on Fridays, and so they're anxious and ready to see it.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Falcon Winter Soldier. I waited until Saturday, Sunday, sometimes next week to even watch an episode. This we're watching the day it comes out.
I still haven't finished Falcon Winter Soldier. I gave up.
It finished. We just weren't there for
All
it.
right,
It finished.
Yeah, let's get a random encounter.
Do better.
All right.
Oh, great stirring Captain America speech. Do better.
Nice.
Oh, wow. You've inspired a nation.
Why don't you give us a roll, Q?
Do better, my black ass.
7. All right. 7 is food time. Blackened fried or pan-seared fish?
Depends on the fish.
It does depend on the fish.
I like blackened on some, but when it comes to catfish
has got to be fried.
With a good batter, a good seasoned. Why can't we find seasoned batter and crispy? I want some crunch.
But like you get a tilapia or something, you want that blackened.
And you definitely don't want fried salmon. I mean, you want
I don't really do
pan-seared.
pan-seared with
Salmon.
any of it. I don't like salmon, so.
Same thing for tuna. I like it just lightly seared, but that's because I also eat
Is it
sushi.
salmon or salmon?
Salmon.
Okay.
Tuna, I also like it pan-seared. I like it just slightly cooked, a little raw still, Like, because I eat sushi, I like it just seared around the edges. You seen a tuna tataki? Or
Yeah,
I like that. But it depends on the fish. But blackened is almost the way I prefer anything that is not catfish. Like I've had a red snapper and others, and pan-seared or blackened is the way I like those.
Yeah,
you only fry catfish.
Blackened is I'll try brim, something like that. Brim's good.
I don't eat brim that often though. Only when every brim I've ever eaten I caught. Like I caught my own brim.
Well, no, that's all I've ever eaten too. I've never actually gone to a restaurant and found brim on the menu. So.
Yeah, but I've caught brim and I've caught catfish and what was the other perch? I caught perch. But yeah, like if I go to a restaurant, I usually prefer blackened or seared, but I don't want it fried. So it depends. Higher quality fish, you don't fry it. But catfish, man, I've tried grilled catfish, and I was like, this is not how you eat catfish.
Whatever random fish that is, that Thai place, Bangkok fries up.
It's still weird that we do not know what we're eating. Like that fish doesn't taste like any fish that I recognize. It tastes gamey, which I didn't know fish could taste gamey.
It's called Fish Supreme.
And it's fried fish, none of your business.
Yeah.
And we eat it though.
Like I asked the lady, I was like, "What kind of fish is this?" And she was like, And she just acted like she didn't know English at that point. She was just like,
like all of a sudden she didn't, and we're just like, all right, it's good.
And I was just like, I just want to know because it's delicious meal, but I still can't figure out what fish that is.
I know that a lot of restaurants like that use cod in a lot of stuff, but they would also not afraid to tell you. So I'm very curious too, because they don't tell you what the fish is.
Oh, anyway, all right. Let's I guess. Well, you're down on the coast, Blood Axe. You have more access to seafood.
So you're right. It depends on the fish. I will agree with that. It kind of left it open ended. I think one of my favorite dishes is when I go to Bonefish and they have a imperial style swordfish that they like to make.
That is very good. Yes,
so
I've had it.
I love a good pan seared fish. I think fried fish, like catfish, I wouldn't want it any other way. But when you fry something, you're right. The seasoning is kind of bland sometimes. More importantly, if you fry it in old grease, you can taste that it's old grease and it's not nearly as flavorful as fresh grease is. So I kind of lean. Plus, you fry French fries and shrimp and hush puppies in that grease, so it all mixes together. So it's disgusting anyway, which is why I like mine pan seared. When it comes to be blackened, sometimes it's overly seasoned. So if you overly season it, you've also ruined the meat. That's why I prefer a good pan fried fish. That's kind of where I was thinking of when I put this topic on the.
You ever had shark steaks, man?
Mm-hmm.
Now
I used to sell them at Winn-Dixie when I worked in the seafood department. They would tell us to fry up samples or steam up samples and pass them out. I went through everything, and they were like, "Don't do the orange roughy again. That shit's expensive."
I will say, I had found a store that was local that had shark. This was 10 years ago or so, and didn't know anything. I have any idea how to cook shark, but I was curious, and they kept having it on sale, so I was like, "Oh well, I'm gonna figure this out." And grilling it was the best method I found. You had to be very careful with the fumes because it would soak up whatever you put in there. So you had to make sure your lighter fluid was well burnt off, and and if you did anything, to add smoke, you just did just a little bit of smoke.
I've grilled some, and it shriveled up to the point to where it was a brick. You couldn't eat it. So if I you had to fry it. So different shark, you do have to prepare different ways. So I definitely recommend looking up recipes before you just slap it onto a grill. Next thing you know, you've got a piece of rubber that you can't eat.
Yeah. Well, the last comment on that is that I'm sorry, I should have been more thorough. Cajun blackened.
Oh yeah,
because now
that's the only blackened, right?
Is the right. You know what? Well, we need to clarify because now Cajun blackened is never over seasoned and it's good. So when I was said that, in my mind, I was automatically adding on the prefix of Cajun blackened. And I was like, oh yeah, there's some fish that's really good Cajun blackened. You can do a good
Cajun blackened with a lobster sauce on top of it. Oh.
I consider myself to be a geek about a number of things myself, so this is my favorite kind of conversation.